right, everyone. How's everybody doing this afternoon? Or this morning, rather. Some of you are probably on the West Coast. So my name is Bo. I am the Senior Gemvision Development and Training Partner here over at Gemvision. We are going to cover a little bit of MatrixGold today. So this is going to be our master series. What we envisioned for these things is essentially have a design, right? And we're going to demo it in CounterSketch and in MatrixGold to show you how both programs handle this design. So it's not going to be as sales oriented. Hopefully we can do these about once a month. Hey, Ted, how's it going, man? So yeah, hopefully we can do these about once a month. We'll have a brief kind of intro into pricing and stuff, but I believe majority of the people who are here already own it. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, if you're just joining, I think Ted and Laurie both know who I am. So I won't introduce again. I've seen you guys once or twice, huh? All right, well, let me go ahead and share my screen, kind of showcase what we are going to do today. So if you don't know, get this guy out of here. If you don't know, gemvision.com should be your main place for anything MatrixGold. You know, we have pricing at the store, features, overview. If you want to check out some pictures, you can go to gallery. If you need to build a computer, system requirements. So I won't spend too much time on here. What we want to do is open up MatrixGold and showcase what we are going to build today. Like I said, this is the master series class. So hopefully the techniques and everything learned here are a little bit more intensive than previous webinars. All right, so while this is not a super crazy design, right? There's a lot of techniques here that we can use to kind of elaborate upon it. And, you know, like specifically these points, right? There's multiple ways to create these points using generic geometry. But there's also a way to use generic geometry and link it to parametric history to get a truly parametric piece, right? So let me cancel this out and we can begin. So the first thing I want to do, right, is bring my picture in here. Kind of lay him flat. I'm only going to use this one. So I will Control Alt and C and center my picture. And then we need to determine how big we want this, right? What I want to do is make my center stone 3.5-ish. So that's going to be a 1.7 millimeter this way. Now I need to move my gumball so I can hold Control and just move him right here. So now this is going to be my scaling point, right? So let's hold Shift and increase the size. So that should be, might need to go a little bit bigger. Again, I'm going to hold Shift and just grab one of the scales right here. So now we should be pretty close. about halfway, 1.75. You know, if this was on the other side, that would be 3.5. All right, so the next thing I want to do is grab an endpoint with a circle and just go straight out like this. I can kind of, you know, select this curve and center it. In fact, that is what I will do. And now I want this curve and I want to trim out the excess. So now I just have this, and if I Control Alt C again, he will go to the center. I want to delete my line right here. All right, so now may need to increase them just a bit, but let's measure our stone. Pretty close. I'll go a little bit bigger, right? And now we can right click to rerun measure. And now we're right at 3.5. So hopefully everybody can follow that. Nothing super crazy right there, but if you have questions, please go ahead and shoot them our way. So, all right, so the next thing we want to do right now, we could cut around this and do other things, but because this is on a layer, right, I can apply it to a different color. So now he is on my gray. That way, whenever I model, I can lock this gray and not select them, right? So one thing that we want to do is make this image kind of see-through. So what that helps you do is whenever you're modeling, you can go to wireframe, right? You can still see the image, but you can also see the outlines of your object, right? So you can do this by typing properties. Now you can cycle through here, but the one we're looking for is going to be this right here. And right here we have object transparency. So as I go down, you can see, I can see my grid, but I can also see the outline of my piece, right? Now you can play around with some of these settings. I wouldn't get too crazy on them, but you know, you can do that. And whenever you're done, I'll go a little bit more. And whenever you're done, you can just close out. And now that he's on gray, we can just lock. So if we go to the top, you can still see the piece, but you know, it's not selectable because it's locked. So now we can start building now that our preparation work has been done. All right, so the first thing that we want to choose is going to be a gem. And I already said it was going to be about a 3.5, so we can do that. And we can pull them up just a bit. Once we're done, enter to accept. Again, I build in plastic. If this is your first webinar, just transfer. Yeah. So if this is your first webinar, I build in plastic and perspective. Just gives you guys kind of the best view. So from here, right, we can do a few things. I'll probably put a head on my stone. We can go to our style sheets right here. We have a whole bunch of heads. I'll choose number 10 and load them. And then I will remove the rail count and adjust this. Let's reduce the size. And then if you want to set look or you want to pull them in, you know, you can do that. I'll extend this a bit and just turn them. Maybe not so much. Now we have our center stone. Kind of tapered to where I can fit a halo around them, right? And once I'm done, I can hit enter, and now my geometry is in. Let's go to a top view, make sure we're still aligned. Looks like I need to come down just a bit. And over just a bit. Okay, so now we can lock. Sorry, lock. Let's go to perspective. All right, next thing we need is to run our Halo builder. So what we can do with our Halo builder is recreate that inner halo and the outer halo. So from here, right, we have a spacing from center that we need to pull in. We have a stone size and gem spacing. So I want to open mine up quite a bit because I'm going to do a French set to kind of mimic this style of setting. So next I want to go to the level 2 halo and we can pull them up. We can go over here to our prongs and turn our prongs off. If you want to adjust some things, you can do that, but let's go to our halo and I will reduce my outside wall and inside wall. Like so. Reduce the spacing. And I can see I need to kick him out a bit. And bring him up. So let's do profile height to about 1.25. I like the placing, but let's kick him out just a bit to go back to level 1 and just open him up. Sometimes it is, just playing around with it to see. So from here, I'll go back here and take some of this out. All right, let's go back here. Now, normally the height offset, which is the offset for the gems, bottoms out at 0. But you can actually come in here and type -0.1. And now they are inside the metal. So if I come to Halo right here and turn my channel off, right, they are inside of my metal. Got it? Now, if we go to cluster, we can change the rotation of our gems. And you can type in, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? And we have 360 degrees. So if we type 360 divided by 8, so 45, right? So every 45 will be the center of one stone, but I want the middle, right? So let's divide by 2. So 22.5. So let's see if we type 22.5. Right, of 0.225. Top. This. 0.22. What did I do wrong there? Okay, I did something wrong. I'm just typing in things to try and get close now. Okay, that's kind of what I wanted the prongs to be in the middle. So it's 0.19. Did I count the right number of stones? $152 times 2. It's only 3 or 4. Anyway, now that it's close, right? Can probably do 0.195, 0.185. Yeah, and enter. Okay, so now that my stones, now that I have room for my prongs, I can go ahead and do what we call French set. So under my cutters, I have micro prong cutters. Now what these will do, these will make those scallops that you see, right? So I want to change my profile right here and go to number 3. So when I go to 3, you can see it's a half round. Let's reduce the height, put some bend in it. And if I go to plastic, you can see they are just straight, right? So what we have down here is actually auto taper. So what you can do is toggle that on and you can see it tapers to the center. So let's reduce the overall width to about this. Normally go about 40% of our stone, but we also need to extend him a bit and pick him up. Don't need him that deep. So once you have something that you like, what I recommend doing is coming here, go to style, and then save style. And what we can call this is Halo French set scallops, and then save style. Because we're doing another halo, right? Because we're doing another one, all we have to do is apply these styles to the next one and it will automatically work for us. See, these are a little low, so I want to pick them up a bit more. All right, so we can choose our stones by right-clicking our swatch. Let's deselect our center by holding Control. And then I want to apply these to a different material layer. As you can see, that way I can just always select those. And I want to rerun micro prong cutters again. Now what we're going to do with this one, we're going to toggle between gems. We can toggle auto taper on as well. And we want to reduce the thickness. And also change our profile to number 8. And we can pick him up, extend him, make him bend, sorry, not rotate. Let's bend him a bit like this. And what I want to do is I want my metal to not go above this hard edge right here, because whenever I cut, it's going to make my split prongs kind of taper a bit. So we can extend this. Let's reduce the width just a bit. And then we can pull him into position. Right, and once we're done, again, we can save style. And what this will be Halo French set split prong, save, and enter. And then the last cutter we need What is your standard wall thickness in channels like this? Well, it depends on a lot of things, Ted. So this right here, because my stones, right, are not using the channel wall to set, typically I will do 0.25 right here. And that's just to compensate for polishing, right? Because in cases like this, you kind of want that scallop to be right even with the edge of your stone. Does that make sense? For channel set, you know, you're going to use that channel, so you have to compensate. Generally, my channel is going to be 0.6 to 0.8, depending on my stone size. If I'm doing a bead set inside of a channel, I'll do 0.45, 0.5. So tricky. Want the halo? Yep. Why are you bending them? It's just a personal preference. It kind of gives it a little more, not, it really doesn't do anything for like the setting purposes. It just, whenever I Boolean, right? Kind of gives a little, I guess, artistic feel to it, if you will. But yeah, no reason technically. So I want to cancel this and I want to select my stones one more time, and then I'll run my channel cut. This will be for my inside graver cut, I think they call them. So let's pick him up. Let's go here, and then we need to pick up the depth quite a bit. Like so. Let's go back to plastic. So now we can see the size of our prongs that will make this up. They're a little big, but the insides are quite small, so you can't have both, you know. So let's go with this. And then again, we can save this channel and we can save style, and we can do French set graver cut and save style. All right, so now we can Boolean under solids, Boolean difference, Boolean with all of our cutters. And yeah, we have this. I can enter. So my spacing is quite wide, so I want to adjust my stone. Yeah, I'm kind of overlapping a bit, but that's no issue inside of MatrixGold, right? So let's reduce this and see if we can get one more. All that hard work trying to get the spacing right. Let's see what 0.05. Man, I should have just done that from the beginning, right? All right, so once I enter, right, it will actually do the Booleans, and that looks much better. If I go to my top view, pretty much aligned. Let's see if I can take some off of my wall now without it adjusting. I need to turn my channel back on and it may fail temporarily, but that's okay. And if I toggle it off, press enter. All right, now we're cooking. All right, so now I need to do the outside. Again, it's pretty straightforward, right? We want to do the same thing. So go to settings, run Halo, select Gem. So here we can open them up a bit. Let's reduce stone size. Open up spacing. Go to level 2. Reduce this. Reduce this. I want to leave him at 2. Let's take some of this out. Now we can kick him out. Let's go to prongs real quick, turn these off. Go to level 2 and kick him out. Point 3. Point 3 it is. Right, lastly, height offset to minus 0.1. Go to Halo. Turn our channel off. And lastly, pick them up. And this. All right. And once we're good, we can go back, double check everything. And enter. So now that we already saved our cutters, right? It's pretty simple. I just need to select them. Let's select these, change these. Let's select our outside and apply it to these. I've always wondered the prong splitter coming to a short beat. It seems smaller, sharper than production standard. Is it usually just for render? Yeah, this is typically for render. I mean, you could always, fill it that whenever you mesh repair it, it kind of fillets that anyway. But I mean, it's really, let's see, measure dim linear. I mean, it's 0.2, so it'll catch it. All right. So I want to select my stones. Again, we can go to cutters, do micro prong cuts. So because we already saved our style, right, we can go to styles. And we can choose Halo French set scallops. If if I go here, we can check the width. It should be 40%. It is. I can press enter. I'm at the V point. V point. Like on a sharp stone, a fancy cut stone. Not sure what you mean V point. The V cutter that split the prongs. This right here. Are you talking about the graver cut down here? The skinny cutter between the stems. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. I mean, it's 0.2. I'd probably open it a bit, but you can, for matrix gold, you can always come down here, edit if you need them wider. Do something like that. I'd now they're probably 0.4. Let's do dim 0.3. As long as it's wide enough for the investment to get in. It's a question about how the cutter tapers to a point. Yeah. If you want to elaborate, I'll try to answer, but I'm going to move forward. So I want to rerun prong cutters to do the split prongs. Come here to style, French set split prongs and load. We can increase the width a bit. Nope, that's height. Do something like that. And lastly, we need our channel cut. All right, so we can enter last thing to Boolean. And once we're done, press enter. If we go to the top, we are pretty close. Okay, is the question about how the cutter tapers to a point. With the auto taper, like how it's big, but then it gets small. I mean, pretty much all of this is good enough for all of this is good enough to be produced, at least in my opinion. So even if it doesn't come out, a lot of this would be done with a lot of this would be done with gravers and things. So I mean, it's 0.3. It was a little small earlier, but 0.3 is pretty good. If you think about it, whenever you have like not share prong, pinpoint or something like that, or even two prongs, right? There's hardly any gap between them. So as long as you have something for them to stick that kind of graver down into, and or that we use like a sharp screwdriver. Forgive me, I don't know setting terms, but we use something like that. All right, so the last thing, right, we need to do is create these little starbursts. What I want to do is unlock this, and I want to rotate one to be straight north. That way I can get accurate dimensions. So to do this, I want to rotate, and I want to rotate from F4 and just go straight up like this. Take him and hold shift and enter. Can pull them down just a bit. That way we have room. You can see the picture was not directly centered, but I digress. All right. So we're going to get creative to maintain parametrics. For those that are new, sharp screwdriver, my favorite tool. Mine too. But just to show you guys, like if you're new to MatrixGold, the idea behind it, right? All of these cuts and booleans we made, if I adjust the stone size, go larger, smaller, everything updates to fit, right? That's the idea behind MatrixGold. So we can couple that with Rhino history and commands so that ultimately you can build anything you want, right? So to do something like this, we would kind of have to get creative, but it's possible. So the first thing I need to do is create kind of a base location. And I already have this, this seam down here, right? So I can either duplicate this seam. I have dupe edge right here and enter, or I could extract an iso curve and, do that. All of these are parametric, but the next thing we want to do is go to a top view and offset this guy to the tips of our bursts, right? So I have offset right here. And then I have a distance. So let's go about here. Not exactly center, but it will be close. And you can see essentially what it does. It takes this curve, offsets it by 6 because I have 6. I want to keep them planar just for purposes down the road. And planar just means if I go from a front view and hide my green, I can't see both of them. They're on the same plane, right? All right. So next we can do what's called a blend curve. I'll select my inside and outside. If I bring this guy all the way over here and bring him top, oh, wrong one. Let's bring him over here rather. Bring him, can take out some of this, a little of this. And if we want, we can increase the blend amount a bit to kind of match. That's pretty close. If you want it more curved up here, you can increase this. I kind of like it sharp, but to each their own. And once you're good, you can enter. Take this guy and mirror to the other side. And enter. And if I bring these back, right, we can see what happens if I adjust, right? Let's say I adjust my stone. Not that way, but let's wait for the booleans to update. Escape. Edit. And we can go to three, 5 and see what happens, right? Because it's in the center, it will update everything. Enter. So once we have this guy, we can blend one more curve. Bring him down here. And if I toggle join curve, you can see it gets rid of the excess. And if I press enter, I now have a planar curve that's joined in the shape of my, I guess, pedal, I call it. But so once we're here, we have a few options. You know, I can do a few things like F6, go to my surface, make surface. I think I did it twice. I did. So make surface is a Rhino command. I can come here, go right, extrude surface. Enter, not to boundary. Can do solid. Something like this, you know, select the top, F6. Also, I want to offset this guy too. It'll make sense coming soon. So if I don't want to go big, I want to go smaller, right? And he will create that channel for me. If you wanted to do them as French set, you could. I'm not going to put stones on mine, but shoot, sorry. Let's try this again. Let's do minus 0.3. Is there a difference between make surface and patch? Yeah, so patch, I'll show you. So let's duplicate this. Hold Alt. Select this, hold Alt. This guy. Yeah. All right. So there's three options that you can do for planar curves. F6. Make surface. We can go to surface right here and patch, which is right here. So you can do some of this, you know, how many V's, how many, and when I hit OK, you can see the makeup is quite different. And the last one you can do is planar curve because it is flat. Planar curve is just like make surface, but patch, right, has, you know, you can adjust these to where it's only 2 and 2, but the makeup is different. So if I extracted an iso curve from this one, let's toggle. And then this one. And then this one. And then F10, right? I have more. I only have 2. Come on, this one. 2. 10. So there is a difference. Just to kind of show you guys. All right, so back to this guy. So we can extrude surface. We can come here to tools. If you want it kind of pillowed, right? You can do profile cap. Something like this. Because I have made my surface down here, which is a Rhino command. I can now join them together. I will have a duplicate down here, but that's okay. I can just put them to blue and hide them. And now we can select this offset, bring them up. Let's go to minus 0.35. Enter, select him, profile cap. So let's go this way. And lastly, I can do one more, but go this way. Select these, dynamically join. Make sure these are joined. And Boolean. Lastly, flow stones on it, however you want. Tricky, you need to be aware patch does not always hold to the edge of curves. Yes, it does not. But sometimes it's worth it to get a surface, then redo adjacent surfaces. Yeah, you can do stuff like that. Are you talking like if you have an open surface on a sweep or something? I would just try and figure out how to sweep it with closing it. Sometimes when you put patch stuff like that, it turns the geometry wonky. Makes surface seems similar to planar curve. Yep, it is. Let's make surface better for working in MatrixGold. The only reason I use make surface is because it holds Rhino history. And for this one, you know, our demonstration purposes, I was linking Rhino history with parametric history. So even though this piece started as a Rhino object, right, I'm able to still manipulate everything. So I want to array them around my center. Right now they're going around my green axis, but I need to change them to Z. And now I have a beautiful starfish. But no, I need to increase my object count like this. Press enter. And now that they're this object, you can do a few cool things under transform. We have taper, which if you want to kind of taper them a bit more, we can do something like this. My computer is hurting right now. Make them even sharper. What's cool is it holds history, right? If ever I wanted to adjust, let me bring this guy back. If ever I wanted to adjust things, guess I don't know how to count, huh? Is it 12? 1, 2, 3. It is 12. Right. So if ever I wanted to adjust things, I still could. On that original offset that we did, right? That offset determines how tall these things are. So I can come here, edit. If I want to increase the size, can do that. Enter. Just need to wait for it to update. And now everything is updated. If I want to decrease the size, I just need to find this offset again and reduce it. Wait for everything to update. And there we go. These are tied to my halo. Halo is tied to stone. So naturally, anything updating on my stone will update these. So the last thing, I mean, we could probably do this actually. Go to solids. Let's do, let me delete this taper. Show this polar array. Delete him. Show this Boolean and get back to square 0. So from here, right, I want to go to object on surface, select object, let's reduce the size and rotate him this way. You can put stones if you want. I'll just do this, try and hurry up. One more. All right. So lastly, let's extend this guy back to 6. Hopefully, if we did everything correctly, it will update. Lastly, we can array one more. Ideally, you want to array a final object. That way you don't have to do it multiple times, right? If I press enter, I now have one set of earrings. And I can open up our collections, go to our findings right here. And I actually have a post, or if you want to do a megabex, you can do that and import. And lastly, take this guy, go to our front, pull him down, go to perspective. Forgot my gallery rail. Why you didn't tell me, guys? Don't know what I just did. But lastly, my post needs something to adhere to, right? Let's pull him down. Let's hide this actually. Maybe a little thick. Let's reduce this, angle him, enter. And now we are good to go. I'll take this guy, And once you're done, right, you don't want to mess with the history. So you want to obviously job bag and then full save them. So what you want to do now is create a duplicate. That way you can render and cut, do everything without affecting your history. So you can select your whole object. You hold Alt and move the window pane, and you have a duplicate now that you can move around. You can select this guy and hide him. I don't know why I was just getting that, but let's move him like this. So you can select this guy, just hide him. Now you can move this guy freely, right? I know a lot of people were saying, how do I move a parametric thing without messing up? This is how. Then you can duplicate this guy. And now you have a staged render. But I appreciate you all for joining. I will chat with you guys later. Again, my name is Bo from Gemvision, and I will see you later. Did you say at the beginning when you'll do these? So we don't have a set cadence yet, but hopefully once a month, once every other month. So you're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you. All right. Well, if there's no other questions, I'll let you guys go. Hope you have a great afternoon, and we will see you next time.